Okay, recording. You might have to say it because I can't see you.
I'll say it. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our second episode of Talk Horror to Me. I am your co-host, Jennifer Ann Gordon, the writer of the horror novels Beautiful, Frightening, and Silent, and From Daylight to Madness. Joining me, as always, is our co-host, Brooke. Woo! Brooke is a journalist. She is a podcast host. She is also a photographer. And as you can tell, we are both horror lovers, and we've got our cool horror themed hats on today. And we are going to be talking about Bly Manor, the Haunting of Bly Manor. But before we get there, Brooke, how was your week?
Mine was interesting. I just got a lot of cleaning done and I got my skull. I found it.
Yay! I have like this black bird I was gonna like perch on my arm, but then I just had this feeling that I was going to forget that I had a bird perched on my arm and like poke myself in the face with it.
How was your week?
It was good. It's been kind of crazy busy. I'm launching a new book next month, so I've been doing a lot of like the pre-order stuff and publicity stuff for that. So that has been crazy but fun. Been reading a lot of spooky books because I'm in a not a readathon, but like a reading challenge where we read only horror novels until Halloween. So I've been.
I finally purchased that Coraline book that you was talking about.
Oh, good. It is. We could do a whole episode on Coraline because I haven't seen the movie, but I have read the book.
The movie's good. They did make it for kids though, so it's not as bad. So.
Right. It's the button eyes on the mom that I'm petrified of. Just like flat out scared of them. So have you been doing anything super spooky this week?
We are having a Halloween party. That's about it. We was just having a Halloween party for kids though, so it's not too bad. And then we're having a campfire for them.
Nice. That's very good. So yeah, I'm excited for Halloween. I'm getting married on Halloween. So that is, but it's very small, very private, because, COVID pandemic. So no reception or anything, just my fiance and I, and we're going to be staying in a tree house. So that'll be kind of cool.
Wow. That's nice.
Wow. Yeah. I've never stayed in a tree house. So I'm excited because it's going to be a full moon and the ceiling of the tree house is plexiglass and the walls are glass.
Where did you find that?
It's on Airbnb. It's actually like 20 minutes away from my house.
Wow.
So
about that.
yeah, it's really cool. So that is my Halloween plan. So next week when we film the show, I will be in a treehouse. So I'll give everybody a little tour of the one-room treehouse.
Wow. Where did you get your hat from? Did you design the little logo on there?
I did not design it. I actually wore this last year. It's like a voodoo outfit or something. It's like some weird thing. It comes with a really long, beautiful trench coat that also has this symbol painted on the back, but and my little monkey paw necklace.
Nice.
And lots of like random scarves and stuff. But I'm not wearing all of that today because the coat is huge. It would take up all of the space.
Yeah, that's nice. Did you order it online?
I did. I think I got it on Amazon. Yeah, I love it. I just love the hat. I feel like a rock star so I don't know if you've seen Dr. Sleep or read the book, but the villain in that, she's like, she sucks magic out of people because it's the sequel to The Shining, and she wears a top hat like this and a long coat. So I bought it so I could look like her.
That's nice. I don't know what kind of witch I'm supposed to be. I guess one of the Sanderson sisters. I don't know.
I love it.
It's leather too. Like
it's
yeah,
really nice.
It's suede. but it was expensive. I don't know where I got it from. I just been hanging it up on the skull I had. I just put it on there and just it up on the, like, I'll just wear the hat.
So you have your black cat right there. So
Yeah.
it's perfect. So we should talk about Bly Manor. So spoiler alerts for everybody who is watching this. If you haven't seen the show yet, turn off the video because we're going to talk about everything that happens.
Oh yeah.
So now you didn't like it, did you?
No.
It's like you hated it. I think you said you hated
Yeah.
it.
It was pretty, wasn't what I was expecting. I was expected to be scared. Like I was in the Hill House one. I was expecting to be scared and like jump scares and see the ghosts in the background like you could see them in the other TV show, but couldn't see it.
So I loved the Haunting of Hill House show, but it was so not like the Haunting of Hill House, the book. Basically, they just took the characters' names and made it completely different. And so that being said, I loved it, but it wasn't Haunting of Hill House to me. But Haunting of Bly Manor, it's based on The Turn of the Screw by Henry James. And I believe he wrote that in the late 1800s or mid 1800s. But I think Bly Manor stuck really, really close in its core plot to his plot. And his book was eerie, but not scary. So I appreciated how close they were to the core story with, Peter Quint and Mrs. Jessel possessing the kids. All of that is what his book is about, and the new nanny. So I loved that. It wasn't, like, I'll agree with you, it wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. And it's not as scary as, like, the trailers really make it seem like it's evil kids doing creepy things. And while that did happen a little bit in the show, it wasn't a lot.
I noticed they was possessing the kids when you met the nanny. Like when she kept saying it's perfectly splendid, and the little girl kept saying, I'm like, what? So I was like, maybe she's possessing her. And then the guy possessing the kid with the wine, he was like, well, I just want my wine. Like he just like that was the funny part to me. Like I did like that part, and my boyfriend liked that part. He really loved that part. But other than that, we was just like, he kept falling asleep on it. I kept having to rewind it and play it again. And I'm like, it's just not me.
Right. See, it's very much a slow burning show. I think it wasn't until episode 4 that I really felt super invested. I liked all the characters. I liked what was going on with the kids, but I think it wasn't until and I'm having a mind blank, but they get into the character of the new nanny and her grief over, and her guilt over losing her her fiance who she had just broken up with. So I think that's when I became like 100% invested in the characters emotionally. Because before that, I didn't like her that much. I didn't like the new nanny. Like she just seemed too jittery and but that explained it. Like when the grief and the closet lesbianism, all of that gave her more depth. And I love that actress because I loved her in Haunting of Hill House. She stars in the TV show You.
Yes.
And she is phenomenal. So
one of her cousins had actually like posted a comment on that episode, like on the show. She posted the episode and I was like, you're a cousin? Yeah, she's her cousin. And she looks just like her, has pictures with her and everything. I forgot her name, but she was commenting on that. She was like, my cousin's very sweet and I'm so happy, proud of her and stuff. And I'm like, wow, that's cool.
So, black cat. So what didn't you like about it? Was it just like this, the pace of it, or?
It just started off really slow. Sorry. It just started off really, really slow. And I'm trying to think, but my dog and cat is in the way. Go over there. Go. Sorry. But it started off really slow and didn't get my attention. Usually I have a short attention span. And if stuff starts out slow, then I'm just like, it's not working. And I'm like, wasn't feeling it at all.
See, I think I'm the opposite. I love it when things take a long time to like slowly develop and like they plant the little seeds. I want to be really invested in the characters like 100% before anything bad happens. Because in a way, and I blame the book Pet Cemetery for this. I love my horror to also be about like grief and so I want to grieve with my characters when something bad happens to them, whether I'm writing them or if I'm reading them or if I'm watching them. Right. So I thought Mike Flanagan, who is the one who does Haunting of Hill House and Haunting of Bly Manor, that he did a really great job of making me care about the characters. Because again, by the time that the nanny's fiance died, I cared about it. And then later on, I think one of my favorite episodes was the episode where you're entirely in the maid's head. And that's when you realize that she's dead and at the bottom of the well, and she's like replaying her favorite memory. And it's such a simple, beautiful memory of, you know, her falling in love with the cook on a simple day. And that broke my heart because I just thought, like, what a beautiful way to kind of express what her idea of kind of heaven was. Like she was replaying that one beautiful memory over and over again.
That's sweet. That was touching. But I didn't I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't realize she was dead until they showed her falling down the well. So the whole entire time she was dead.
Yeah.
Oh wow. I didn't even notice that. Like I thought she was like, so was all of them dead? Like the cook and
No, the cook and the gardener, Danny's future kind of wife, they're alive. So, and I don't think, you know, I really want to go back and rewatch it again because I'm not exactly sure the moment that the housekeeper dies. Because I'm not sure. Again, I'd have to rewatch it. If at what point Miles kills her.
Yeah.
You know, but I started having an inkling that she was dead. Wow. And I was just like, uh-oh. And then I thought, they're all dead.
Right.
And then I'm like, no, they can't all be dead.
Wow. That just hit me. Like, I remember when they were sitting there talking to the guy, Pete, and they was like, well, you better leave because she's coming back. And then she came and she grabbed him. That scared me. That did scare me.
Yeah, that whole, I mean, I have to say the visual of Viola having her face kind of washed away by years and just, you know, dragging him through the house scared the crap out of me.
Easy.
It was just that, yeah, she was frightening, truly frightening. And I'm glad we didn't get to see her that much, because if she was, I like the hints of her. I like the weird doll that in her image and stuff like that. I liked that more than if she was always there. If she was always there, I think I wouldn't have been as scared because I would have kind of grown numb to it.
Yeah, I agree.
The cool thing about the Haunting of Hill House is that there were so many different ghosts and things in the background. So you never knew what was going to scare you in that one. Because It
Man,
was,
there was so many. I had to replay it after I read a blog. They was like, there's ghosts in the background in every single scene. I'm like, really? I didn't even notice. So I started playing it over and over again. And I was like looking in the background the entire show.
yeah,
And you can
the,
see
you can see them. The one thing I was a little disappointed in with Haunting of Bly Manor, I thought it was shot really well, but there was the episode in Haunting of Hill House that is done in the one where it's about the funeral, and it's shot with 3 consecutive very long shots, and that is incredibly hard to do, especially when you're having characters move in and out of different set pieces. And I thought that was like a game changer for television when I saw that, because I'm a sucker for things done in long shots. So I kept waiting for that episode of Haunting of Bly Manor that was going to be something like that. Like, oh, they're going to shoot this whole episode in one shot. And I never got it. I
yeah.
think the closest I came to it was the black and white episode, episode 8, which is called The Romance of Certain Old Clothes, the one where it's like Viola's origin story, like how she became the lady in the lake. That was probably my favorite episode of the whole season, because again, I loved the actress, and it was beautiful. It was beautifully shot. It looked, and it was like a movie, a full movie inside of this TV show. So
Oh, yeah. It
you're like, I didn't like it.
it just didn't grasp my attention. Like I was trying so hard, and I was like, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it because I have to talk about it on the show. And I'm just like, it's just not working for me. It
I
just
think, yeah, I think that, everybody I've talked to, it's either people love it or they hate it and think it's completely boring. But I think it depends on what kind of horror you gravitate towards. Like when we were talking about like our lists of favorite horror movies and things like that, most of mine end up being like very slow burning, gothic horror. So like haunted houses, ghost stories. Uh, I like slasher films, but I much prefer a ghost story.
yeah, because they have better stories because they have like the history of the people and stuff like that. I understand. I agree with you. But I just like I like the scary stories. I don't know why. Like how they was back then, like if they was crazy back then and then it made them crazy as a dead person, like it was like that's what grasped my attention. But some of them are sweet and some of them are crazy. Like Pete, he was definitely going off.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
that little kid?
Oh my gosh. I mean, you have to, I think Haunting of Bly Manor was it was unsettling more than it was scary. Though, watching those kids were great actors.
They did a great job, especially the little boy. I mean, the girl did good too, but the little boy, I was like, wow.
Especially that scene where they did the story time, and he told the story of the puppets, and he's dressed like a puppet, which I think puppets are scary anyways. So his puppet story, and he's dressed like a puppet, and then I mean, he was such an incredible actor. You could see those moments like in his eyes when he went from, oh, I'm a nice boy, to oh no, I'm possessed by, you
Yes.
know, a horrible person, a
Yes.
horrible man.
Oh yeah. Like he was stealing money and everything. I'm like, really? Like
Yeah.
stole all their money and he was gonna leave, but then got caught. That was crazy.
Yeah,
But
it was a good multi-layered show, I think, for me. But they say it in the very last episode. Um, the girl says, "You were wrong. This wasn't a ghost story. It was a love story." And that really, and that's, I think, the truth of the matter is, it was, the ghosts were secondary in this show. And it was mainly for most of the characters, they were, you know, driven by love or revenge for lost love in the case of Mrs. Jessel and Viola, even, because
I did notice that, like, the one that was a lesbian, she lost her significant other when she broke up with him, and then the lesbian, I don't know if they told her story. Did she break up with anybody?
no, they never got into I'm blanking out on her name, but Danny is the nanny, and yeah, her lover. They never really got into her background, and I think they didn't get into her background as much because the person who was narrating the story was her. So I think that was on purpose. But they could have done more with her to give her a more fleshed out.
Right. I agree.
Because you knew things about everybody else that made you really care about them. And the only thing that we really knew about her was that she loved Danny. Yeah. And while I think that's beautiful, because that was her story that she was trying to tell. Yeah.
That was sweet. that was sweet.
And then the end episode, that final moment when she talked about how she always leaves the door open a little bit in case she comes back. Aww. Like, you see she's sleeping there and that door is open a little crack, and you see somebody like kind of right outside that door. And then I want to watch that last scene again because I want to say there's somebody in the room with her. And like, so to me, I think like, oh gosh, they've somehow been reunited.
See, I didn't watch the last episode. Like, I tried. I kept playing it, watching it, and falling asleep and keep playing it. So I just gave up. But I didn't see the last episode.
Oh, well, then I ruined it for you.
No, you didn't ruin it. You didn't ruin it. I wanted to know because I honestly don't think I was going to watch it again because I kept falling asleep.
Yeah. So, you know, Danny and her lover, I can't remember her name. And I don't have my glasses on, so I can barely see it. They have a wonderful, beautiful life together for as long as humanly possible, until Danny keeps feeling the lady in the lake's presence. Like she looks in a mirror and she sees her. Like, so she slowly realizes that she's becoming very much possessed by this evil woman, and she wakes up one night with her hand around her lover's throat, like about to kill her. And that's when she realizes, to keep her safe, to keep the woman I love safe, I have to kill myself. So she goes back to Bly Manor and she kills herself.
Oh, dang.
So I know it's a real downer of an episode, but it very much tied everything together perfectly, because it did always come down to love at the end of the day. And she, rather than becoming a monster, she killed herself because she didn't want to do anything, you know, to hurt the woman she loved, which I think is, you know, beautiful.
That is, wow. I just don't understand, like, when those situations come up, like, why don't people talk to their significant others? Just tell them, hey, I feel this way. I feel like I'm being possessed, and I feel like I need to get away from you too.
Right. But they understood that was always what was going to happen. And yeah, I mean, so she kept saying, you know, I feel her, like she's coming, she's close, she's getting closer. But I think, you know, it's the inevitability of fate. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I think maybe Danny thought there was no getting away from it. Like she knew that was when she said, you know, it's you, it's me, it's us, that she invited the spirit into her body.
That's crazy. Like, I didn't think of that. Like, now I want to watch it, but then I know I'll fall asleep. But it makes me want to watch it because of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's honestly, it's like one of the more beautiful love stories I think I've seen in quite some time. So the ghosts were a bonus to me.
Oh, man. I hope they make another one. I'll watch it. I'm gonna try to start watching them to try to get a better understanding. But I don't know. That one just did not work.
It's
but
okay. You're not the only person that says that. Um,
but since you broke it down, I understand like it's love. Like they all had their little love stories. They all had
yeah.
people that they didn't want to be with, people that they did want to be with. Like I understand that. I don't know why.
And there's a version of this movie of the turn of the screw that came out in I think the early 1960s, I want to say. It's called The Innocents, and it's mainly about the kids being possessed.
um,
And that is, for an older movie, so creepy. Because again, the kids in that movie did such a good job of being possessed, but they also, because they're possessed by lovers and it's played by children, so there's like this really weird dynamic of the kids in the older movie The Innocents, where their brother and sister, they're very young, but then they kind of start like looking at each other like they love each other.
yeah.
And you're like, and the new nanny's like, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah. And I noticed that in the show that like when he got sent off to boarding school or whatever school he went to, then she wrote him a letter and was like, please come back. I want you to come back. And so that's why he like made all those like was fighting people and stuff trying to get
Yeah.
home. And I'm like, wow. Because it
Yeah.
really didn't seem like he was a bad kid. It did seem like he was possessed by how he was acting.
Yeah. And like when you think about how intense Peter Quint's relationship was with Mrs. Jessel, like because he was emotionally abusive, completely narcissistic, a total sociopath, controlled her, but she was like, for whatever reason, sometimes we fall for the wrong people, like completely into him.
Oh man,
And
I've done that.
so, I think that starts with the whole, like, even death can't keep you apart from who you really want to be with.
Yeah. And I noticed that. Like at first I thought he was a sweet guy. I was like, oh, he just cares. And then when he lashed out on her for tasting the cook's food,
He's in the batter. Yeah,
I'm like, wait a minute, what?
I know. When that happened, I knew he was a bad person because I've read the book, I've seen The Innocents, but yeah, that scene really got to me because it reminded me of years ago. I was in a terrible relationship with somebody who would do things like that. Like, oh, I saw you doing this. And I'm
Wait.
like, what? Like I gave somebody a hug and
Right.
it was like, he would go crazy, completely go crazy. And so once that scene happened, I was just like, oh God, I hate this guy.
Yeah. I think I hated him from the very beginning when he picked up the new nanny. I was like, this guy. Wait, he didn't pick up the new nanny. He was already dead.
Yeah.
It was the cook that picked up the new nanny.
Yeah.
So I don't remember how, like when he picked up the old nanny is when I knew I didn't like
Oh,
him.
yeah. Because when you could almost tell like right away when he was just the way he looked at Mrs. Jessel, right when she was doing the interview, it
Yeah.
was just like, oh God, he is smarmy. And he reminded me of the Christian Bale character, Patrick Bateman in American Psycho.
Yes, yes. It did.
Like, right away, his first scene when he was like, buying the new shirt for his boss and like buying the alcohol. My fiance and I just looked at each other and went, oh God, total American Psycho vibes. But British.
He was very cocky. And yeah, It's pretty bad. Like I was like, why is she with him? Like, why does she love him so much?
I know. I mean, it had to have been the sex must have been great.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know. But I
I
didn't
mean,
see. Okay, I saw how he died. How did she die? Did he kill her? Because I remember he came back and he was like, she was like, "Where was you at? I was looking for you." Yada yada yada. And he was like, "I'm not here. I'm dead." Like he told her he was dead, and she was like just like what? But how?
I you know, I hate to say it, I don't even remember. I think she killed herself. Did she drown herself in the lake?
Oh yeah. Okay, I remember seeing it now. Yeah.
Yeah. I know
Yeah.
what's so funny is like I just finished it last week and already it's like fading from my mind. I'm like, what's happening? Who was that? Um, that's why I have to watch it again.
I think I may try to struggle through it and try to watch it again. Maybe.
Maybe. If you go into it thinking, I'm not going to be scared, it's not a scary thing, but it is like a really beautiful love story, then maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Man, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. I'm try.
I'm very excited to watch the new remake of Rebecca,
Rebecca, I've
which,
never heard of it.
oh my gosh. So Rebecca is this great Gothic novel by Daphne du Maurier. And they made a classic movie out of it, I think in the 40s or 50s, that again, it's like a slow Gothic horror, no ghosts per se, but it's about a young woman who meets and marries this older man, and he brings her to his kind of old estate out in the middle of nowhere, and there's a really creepy housekeeper named Mrs. Danvers, and Mrs. Danvers was very, very, very attached to the first Mrs. De Winter, which is the man's ex-wife or his dead wife, and kind of the yeah, it's good. It's good. I have high hopes for the movie, the new version, but it's a classic. It's a Gothic
You said it was
classic.
a novel?
Yes, yeah, it was a novel first,
Okay. I'm gonna
and
check.
then a movie. The novel's great. Everything Daphne du Maurier writes is wonderful. Uh, Great Gothic fiction, very creepy, unsettling, but they're old fashioned, so they're a little slower,
Wow.
but
I
yeah,
have to check that book out. But I
you
don't
should. Yeah, you should, because I remember you saying you like VC Andrews in
know.
those books, like Flowers in the Attic and My Sweet Audrina and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think uh, Rebecca and even Henry James's Turn of the Screw are like the predecessors of VC Andrews books. Like if there was no Rebecca, there would be no Flowers in the Attic, because VC Andrews, I'm very excited because I get to talk to Andrew Niederman on my show. A lot of the books have like a similar theme to them where it's like, poor girl comes from nothing. Oh, she might secretly be rich,
Right.
gets adopted by a creepy old family, and and badness ensues in a really big old house.
That's true. That's true. That is how her books are. Man.
I know. I feel like it's a Victorian Gothic trope, we'll say, but I like it. Like I'll read any book that has that plot of a woman realizes she is a long lost heir to a mansion, and she goes to live there in a crumbling castle in the northern England, and
Oh, man, I'm gonna have to check that out. Because I do have a lot of books I need to read. Because that's what I do. I read the audiobooks. So I'm gonna check that out.
oh, the audiobook for Rebecca is very, very good.
This the
Yeah.
narrator,
Hmm?
the narrator, the one that reads it, she's good. Or
Yeah, she's really good. Because I read the book twice and then I listened to the audiobook with my fiance, and Very good. Very good. Sometimes you get a narrator that you're just like, I don't like you, but.
That's how I felt with the Sandman. I was like, it's too many people talking. It's giving me headache.
Oh, I haven't listened to the audio of that.
It's good though. It's good though, but it's a lot of people who's narrating. A whole lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I usually prefer just one narrator. I've listened to a couple that have a few narrators, but I prefer just one really solid voice actor who can do everything.
But okay, have you watched I'm trying to think of it, Antebellum?
I have not yet.
That's really good. Check that out.
I will.
I watched it and I was like, the whole time, like, I don't want to give it away, but the whole time you're gonna be like, what?
Is it on Netflix?
No, it's not on Netflix. It's on Vudu. I think you have to buy it though. Like, it's
Oh, okay.
just came out.
Oh, all right. I'll find it.
And it's a book too. So
Uh-oh. If it's a book too. My to be read list is so long. I keep getting, because I keep buying books and then I keep getting books sent to me. So now I'm like, I don't know where to start.
man, I prefer either hardback copies or audiobooks. I cannot do ebooks. Like, I get distracted and I'll be watching something else and talking about something else. I'm like, nah, I can't do it.
Yeah, I love paperbacks, but I do read ebooks too, because I wouldn't be able to afford all of the books that I want, and ebooks tend to be a little bit cheaper. But there are certain authors that I will pre-buy their book on an ebook and I buy the paperback, because when the book comes out, like, I want it right away, download it at midnight so I can start reading. And then when the paperback comes in or the hardback, then I switch to that.
I usually like getting the signed copies of people, so I'll do a book review for them if they sign the book, and I'll buy it. I don't want a free copy. I'll buy it from them, and then they sign it and they sign their name and something to me, and then I'll read it.
Yeah, I've had it's been sweet because I've had some people who want my book signed that live far away, so they'll buy it on Amazon and have it shipped to me so I can sign it, and then I just send it on back to them.
Wow.
With like a little gift.
Have any of the books at home? Like, you don't have any of the books at home?
I have some of them. I every once in a while I run out. Like right now, I'm completely out of one of my titles. I'm completely out of From Daylight to Madness, but I have an order coming in. Nice. But sometimes I do giveaways and stuff of my books, like for like a blog tour, or if somebody wants a review of it, or even if I just, see like a bookstagrammer whose work is really good. I've sent books to bookstagrammers for free, just like, here, take a pretty picture of my book.
Oh, man, I might try doing that. I don't know, because I really, really, really like reading, so I may try bookstagramming. I mean, I might try doing that. I don't know.
You should. All right, so I think my homework for this week is I should watch Antebellum.
Yes, that's good.
And your homework for this week is to, I don't know. I want you to read Rebecca, or listen to Rebecca. Or start it. And then next week, maybe we'll talk about Antebellum.
Oh, really?
Nice. Yeah. If I can watch it, I'll let you know in a couple days if I can't watch it.
Okay. It's really good. You're gonna be like, wow. It does have a little bit, like, on the plot, it does have a little bit to do with slavery. So
I figured with the name that.
Yeah, a little bit to do with slavery. And the author who did it, I forgot his name or her name. I forgot the name who wrote the book, but I'll tell it next time.
Awesome. All right. So next week we'll chat about Antebellum, and I will be in a treehouse, everybody. So I will give you a little tour of my treehouse when I'm there. Until then, Thank you for watching. Let us know in the comments on our YouTube channel, or even hit us up on Facebook what you thought of Bly Manor, even if you thought it sucked, which it didn't. um, let us know what you think, and also let us know what horror movies or horror novels that you would like to hear us talking about. So until then, we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.